Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today. Are you ready for a life lesson? Yes, gaming is temporary, but your character and what everyone will remember you as is forever. 343 has taught us all that sometimes life will throw you a curveball, and the curveball spinning down the center of the plate today is Halo Infinite, which everyone was pretty hyped about, right? We have this big technical preview. It's a very convincing showcase. We got a couple of maps. We played against the bots. It was Slayer, and overall, on a mechanical level, it was very much a promising showing for the game that was long in question on its level of quality and if 343 understood what a Halo game was all about. I enjoyed it a lot, but even in my preview, I said some people are saying it's a good game now have leapt way too far in advance, and they are going to be doing some serious backtracking now as we have some really bad news for the game. So let's cut straight to it. Co-op campaign, see you later, being added later on. Oh, Forge, the heartbeat of the series, I would say, gone. See you later. We got to talk about both of those today and just how damning it is, because it looks like the Halo community is split quite a bit. Some don't care and going, well, I planned on playing it by myself. I just wanted to do multiplayer. This doesn't matter to me. And some are saying this is a game changer. So just how big of a deal is it? Well, we're going to get into that. To begin, how did this all come about? There was a August development update for Halo Infinite over on 343's YouTube channel, which you can check out for yourself. The video clocks in at almost half an hour long, so I imagine that's part of the reason, at least, that you're here outside of hearing my thoughts on the game. And so the spark notes of it is that they are still aiming for that 2021 release window sometime in the holiday period, but they are cutting out those major features to make sure that they do make it there and that they come out in a quality state. So let's move over to Windows Central Gaming, which condenses what I am already condensing. 343 Industries outlined its plans via an August development update video on Friday, recapping the latest on development. Quote, "Unfortunately, as we focused the team for shutdown and really focused on a quality experience for launch, we made the really tough decision to delay shipping campaign co-op for launch," end quote, stated Halo Infinite creative lead Joe Staten. Quote, "And we also made the tough call to delay shipping Forge past launch as well," end quote. Staten says that the team aims to ship co-op campaign support via Season 2's update scheduled for 3 months after launch. Forge is expected to launch 6 months after its release via Season 3 content offerings. Our number one priority is making sure whatever we ship, whenever we ship it, it meets the right quality bar across all platforms, Xbox devices, PC, and all of its different configurations. And when we looked at these two experiences, Campaign Co-op and Forge, we made the determination they're just not ready yet. As a studio, we don't want to ship things if they're not ready, so people can play them, have fun, have a nice stable performant experience. So we're going to keep Campaign Co-op and Forge in the oven for a little bit longer, and then when they're ready, we're going to release them as a part of our seasonal roadmap next year. Of course, it goes without saying, because it's been said so many times in the past, that a delay is typically a good thing for the quality of the content that will one day be delivered. The major question mark is the state of the content upon its delay and how long it needs to reach that complete state. And while it is a good thing for the quality of the content, it is also fair to say it doesn't feel good when a package feels like it's being shipped incomplete because of misdirection, mismanagement, what have you. So I think frustration at this point is valid. I find this very disappointing after it seemed like it was finally gaining steam. E3 was pretty convincing. The technical preview showed mechanically that they seemed to have it right on the nose of that blending of modernization and nostalgia for what a Halo game is, and that doesn't take away from it at all, because I know most of my time will be spent in the multiplayer, which will be there, at least for me personally. But at the heart of Halo, co-op, it's like a staple, man. I can't imagine I'm the only one sitting here going, that's the main way I like to play Halo when it comes to the campaign. This is not just, oh, it's no split screen co-op, there's no couch co-op. Co-op in general, no online even, none of that. That sucks. To me, that's a big blow. Is it enough to make me not play it? No, and I know some people will defend it saying, well, I'm going to play it single player first. That's fine, but I like to go back even after that first run through in Legendary, maybe, Heroic, and play with my friends and try to beat it on higher difficulties. And I know there are many out there who feel the same way. Beyond that, though, it's a familiar drum being beat here that we saw with the launch of Halo 5, this incomplete launch, removing very core pieces of the Halo formula and giving them to you later. Guess what? Halo 5 comes out October 2015, and it's not until August of the next year that they drop Forge. Something that's it's probably going to be a pretty similar release cycle for Halo Infinite. And at the heartbeat of Halo, just like mods for Bethesda Game Studios games, custom games are what keep people coming back and coming back and coming back because of just the limitless fun that is built into Forge. And while I was feeling pretty optimistic heading into launch, it shows just how quickly some very bad news can flip your perspective ever so slightly, where I was feeling solid on some of the ways they were approaching monetization. I still had some question marks on certain aspects of it. I don't really trust Xbox fully with monetization based off their handling of other very popular series that they own. But I was wondering if Forge would fall prey to this in some way, shape, or form, linking objects to the Forge in a battle pass, selling components of Forge in the battle pass or as cosmetics. This is something that has easy money written all over it. And given that it's free to play, it makes it all the more compelling to do so. So combining all of those feelings together, I am not clearly a fan at all of the move that 343 is making here in the terms of an incomplete launch. I think it's good that if the quality is going to be there, and what we saw in the technical preview on a gameplay front was quality, right? We don't know how other modes are going to play, like big team battle, how SWAT's going to feel with different player counts, and how players are going to use certain weapons on certain maps. And I think the systems they have there with the equipment and the Spartan abilities, like, I think they've got everything right on a gameplay front. I'm very convinced this will be a fun game to play. So I need to emphasize again, before anyone catches up to me in the comments, I don't think this is going to ruin the game, but there is a sour taste in the mouth now, at least for me, where I look at this and go, man, really? Because this is really going to be Xbox's make or break moment. We got a couple of exclusives and Xbox Game Studios titles coming out soon, whether it be like Psychonauts 2, or we have Age of Empires or Forza Horizon 5. But like Playground Games is proven. Age of Empires is one of the smaller IP in the terms of its player count and how much it means to the Xbox brand. I mean that with no disrespect. Halo is the true test to see if Xbox has learned from a previous generation of a lack of investment, a lack of funding, and a lack of patience. And they've certainly shown patience, but now is the real test. And when you come out with Halo Infinite saying, all right, here we go again, just campaign and multiplayer, no co-op, which I think is probably the bigger issue for me, but also no Forge. I mean, I just find that infinitely disappointing, pardon the pun. But more than that, what I need to ask is, what was this game like last year? What was happening? Because check out this headline here. Halo Infinite will have split screen co-op at launch, reaffirms 343 Industry. This was July 2020. Now, in all fairness, it's worth pointing out this comes from former creative director Chris Lee. This is not Joe Staten saying this, who was brought in after the delay to start to get this game ready to release the following year, which he is doing properly. But my point in showcasing this is to say that what is happening internally? If this was 1 month before your big reveal, you show it off, you try to make some adjustments, and eventually it's like, we got to delay this game. There's no choice. We need to delay it. What exactly is happening internally where this is failing to be identified and that you were publicly stating things so woefully off the mark that even when you delayed your game a year, that you had to wait another 3 months after that release window for this mechanic to be added in that you were promising at launch when it was in its most broken state? It's so baffling to me. What were we getting in 2020 if people didn't lose their mind? I'll say this. I'll eat my words on this. I thought some people overreacted in 2020. They were right. Because if that reaction wasn't there, we would have had a second Cyberpunk on our hands. 100%. If you're telling me you can reaffirm that in 2020 and come the end of 2021, we still don't have a date. There's no pressure on that regard. And you still aren't able to deliver it. What happened, right? What happened? Now, this can all quickly go away and fade in a matter of moments of playing the game and going, all right, the maps are here, the multiplayer's here, it's good. But this is going to bring that microscope down on certain parts of this game that they probably wouldn't have wanted otherwise. Map count is going to be super important. I look at something like Battlefield 2042 when they were going, oh, we got, I think it was 7 or 8 maps, small map count. Granted, they are huge maps. But when they were like, yeah, we don't have that many maps, folks were going, well, I don't like the campaign in Battlefield games, but now I suddenly want one because you're selling me a $60, $70 game with 8 maps. Get the hell out of here. And now it's the same thing where obviously Game Pass is a major factor here. But if you were to buy the game, you're missing out on key pieces of that Halo formula that defined Halo in its heydays. And they're just retreading those same grounds that something like Halo 5 did with no Forge at launch. Big team battle wasn't there at launch. And of course, it's going to be here for Halo Infinite. But I just feel like when you're missing the custom game's heartbeat and that 3 months after launch you're adding co-op, what is this? That's not a part of a content roadmap. In my opinion, that doesn't feel like that's something that's a launch piece. That's a launch piece that needs to be there at launch as far as I'm concerned. And then something like Forge, I would give some more leeway to, right? It's a multiplayer component. Multiplayer is going to be the legs, what keeps the series around. I think that's a little bit more understandable, but them combined, I don't like it. I really don't. Even if the delay makes sense, I think that should be assumed. I don't think I made it clear in this video, but it should be assumed that, yeah, delay is a good thing. Let's make the best possible product. But one thing that the internet always tries to do, because they're shrouding these developers and they're trying to keep everyone nice and cozy, and I respect that, right? I respect the devs. Salute to the devs. I'm working on my own game. It's not easy. I get it, right? And the pressure there that's added probably makes it even more stressful than it needs to be. But that aside, it does not mean that you cannot be direct and honest and say, like, I know why you're delaying the game. It doesn't suck less. So once again, I let people know, like, your feelings of disappointment, of anger towards 343, I think are valid, because if anyone's frustrated, it's probably them, right? They're probably annoyed. They would have wanted to have that at launch. I have no doubt in my mind. I don't need to even talk to anyone at 343 to know that they probably would have wanted both these mechanics there at launch. It would have felt much more complete. It would have felt more like, yes, this was why you had to wait that full year. And there is that point of ridiculousness where you go, oh my God, we're waiting so long. But once again, we got to go back to Cyberpunk. The reason for that is because we had that moment of like, all right, they've delayed it so many times. You've got to launch it in December. Then you see how it launches and you go, huh. Yeah, it would have been annoying if they delayed it out of December and it arrived maybe May instead, which based off its patches, it probably wouldn't have been even ready then. But to my point is they launch it then. There were a couple more patches in there. It would have been a little more technically stable and maybe less anger. And we don't know the technical state of Halo in the terms of its campaign, how it plays, of course, bugs, glitches, frame rate, all that stuff. We won't know until we have it in our hands. But there is this opportunity to right the wrongs of the past, if you will. And if there is a need to push it back, I am for that, right? I am totally for that, especially when Xbox is delivering a lot this fall through Game Pass and through third-party deals and through exclusives of their own. Maybe they're not the most exciting for everyone, but like something such as Forza Horizon 5 is huge. That's a big launch. So if they need to delay it, I'm fine with it. But what this all does is you get the bad news out of the way, and you've now created room for the good news to come in next week with Gamescom. So like I said, this conversation can change very easily. We'll see exactly how everyone responds when I imagine we get that release date next week and probably like a big team battle technical preview. But for now, these are just my thoughts on the breaking bad news for Halo Infinite. Are you in the same boat as me? Are you upset about this? Do you feel like it's less of a big deal? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm really curious because I think there's going to be a split on this one. So other than that, I'll talk with all of you very soon. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support all the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.